You're welcome, Ken. Good morning to everyone from the Memorial Spiritualist Church in Norfolk, Virginia. Members and congregation, friends of the church, it's lovely to be with you all this morning. I'm inspired to talk about two separate things, pulling them together, and we're going to see how that happens. First, as we were reciting the prayers for spiritual healing, as we were reciting the principles this morning, Declaration of Principles, what came to mind is as we began the Declaration of Principles with the first principle, I could feel how everyone came into alignment. And I've known this. I've been studying Religion Spiritualism since 1997 when I was led to the Temple of Metaphysical Science in Patchogue, New York. The Declaration of Principles, as we say, is not a dogma or a creed, but as we were speaking this morning, as we were reciting them individually in our own homes, I could feel the energy of unification coming together, and it was exquisite to feel. Because the Declaration for me is something that is a way to live, shall we say, a blueprint to live by. And in our understanding of spiritual healing and in our understanding of mediumship, well, how could we not want to live in the world knowing what we know? And how could we not want to live in the world? When I say professing it, I'm not speaking about standing on a street corner on a soapbox, professing it verbally. But when I say professing it, I'm speaking of standing within ourselves, knowing the truth of what we know and who we are, and allowing that energetic to reverberate from our being. So this morning, first, before I go further, I wanted to acknowledge the beauty of each of you speaking individually the Declaration of Principles and affirming your beliefs in the religion of spiritualism and in the understanding of your divinity and in the understanding of life continuing after this life and in living in the world through and by the golden rule, which is do unto others as we would have them do unto you. So for the gift that you shared with each other, that put out into this service, well, that was magnificent. I couldn't start my spiritual address without acknowledging the energetic that you shared with each other. And so here we go. I've been reading this wonderful book, Ina Twigg, Autobiography of a Medium by Ina Twigg with Ruth Hagee Broad. And in chapter 21, page 188, paragraphs 1 and 2, she says something that I find to be just wonderful, and I wanted to share it with you. As mediums, we know we are here to help prove the continuity of life. Here's what Ina Twigg says. What are we proving through mediumship? The survival of individual personality after death? Certainly. But the implications of that fact are staggering and should affect every facet of living. We are happy to be used to comfort the bereaved, to give them evidence of survival. For if you comfort one bereaved person, giving him or her an insight into the communication that is possible between the two worlds, he or she feels a sense of responsibility. This affects, I should say, the effects of his or her new thinking will affect people in ever-widening circles of enlightenment. So, having shared that thought with you, how many of you remember the very first message you received at a spiritualist service? How could you not? Okay, not everybody does. But I remember when I walked into the Temple of Metaphysical Science, I had just opened to my ability of mediumship in January of 1997 through somebody that was working with my partner. Now, at the time I was dating John. He went to a woman who was a healer. She said to him, you're opening up psychically. John's a psychotherapist. He didn't believe in it at the time. He said, no, I think you're picking up on the guy I'm dating. She paused. She said, the man with a blue beaded necklace. He said, that's the one. I was wearing a blue beaded necklace at the time. She wrote down the name of the Temple of Metaphysical Science and said, he needs to go there. Okay, I had never been to a spiritualist church. I had just opened to my mediumship. And in January I opened. He gets this message in February and April. I walk in. At the very first service, I received a message that was profound. Reverend Catherine Snell pointed to me and said, young man, I have your grandmother here. She described my grandmother and said, you're going to be on the platform someday. I smiled. I thought, yeah, right. This is the way they get you involved. But look at how many years later, 23 years later, I have the privilege to do this work. Now, I remember the first message because of its importance, and I remember the importance of it because she described my grandmother, and I remember the feeling that I had with that message. How many of you remember the feeling of the communication from the first message you ever received? You know that feeling within your body that just says, yes, it's right. You know that feeling within your soul that just makes you go, yeah, this is it. So thinking about that and the way that you, my dear friends, are walking in the world with a, yeah, this is right, and yeah, this is it, and going back to what I said about the Declaration of Principles and the way the energetic came together while we were speaking them, you are in the embodiment of this religion. It doesn't matter if you're a medium. It doesn't matter if you're a healer. If you take those the Declaration of Principles and believe in those Declaration of Principles and walk in the world with that belief, you are the embodiment of the religion. And people will come up to you, and even if you are not the medium or the healer, people will ask you questions about you. You've got a different vibration. You've got a different energetic. You walk in the world differently. They're going to want to know why. They're going to want to know what it is that you have, what it is that you believe, what it is that you feel. You may not even have to use the word mediumship. You may not even have to express a message from the spiritual realm, but people will be attracted to you because of your belief and drawn into an understanding of life's eternal nature. Ina Twigg questions, what is the purpose of communication? Is it to give evidence? Absolutely yes. Is it to comfort the bereaved? Absolutely yes. But if we help one person in their belief, in their understanding that life continues after this life, if we help one person readjust their focus in the world, and you feel within that one person a sense of relief, well, they've got something that I don't have. When Reverend Catherine Snell gave me that first message, my mental mind went to, yeah, this is crazy. I don't believe this. This isn't going to happen. Mental mind went to, I don't think this is true. But my body relaxed. My knowing, my interior knowledge knew it was right. And from that place, I moved forward. It's not about me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking a story about myself in this moment, but I'm speaking to the universality of our first message. How many of you understand within your whole being that this fits, that this is right, that this is where I live? This is the heart of who I am. Well, from that, I'm going to say a big amen, ladies and gentlemen. Because in the religion of spiritualism, we have come to know the truth of who we are. We have come to know and have an understanding of the eternal nature of our being. And in that, I say to Ina Twigg, thank you. Thank you for putting in a book back in the 1970s, at the conclusion of chapter 21, the question, why are we doing this? And for stating that the effect of this new way of thinking will increase in ever-widening circles. It will affect other people in ever-widening circles. So imagine if you are the medium at the church service, and you have the privilege to stand in front of a congregation of 15 to 30 to 50 to 70 people. It doesn't matter who, how many numbers. And you have the good fortune to be able to deliver the message where everyone in the room feels that new person go, they're going to get it. But so will everyone else in the room. We all know of the healing vibration that comes from spirit. We all understand it through the hands-on healing we receive at a spiritualist service, as well as through the mediumship and the spiritual message. We are the fortunate ones in that way. But think of the new people. Think of the people who come, who are grieving, who want reassurance that the loved one that they've lost through the transition of death is still alive. We're helping to change people's understanding of life and relationship. I'll take a moment to pause because I'm sure some of us here in this church congregation this morning have had pets that we've loved. And I'm sure some of us have lost our pets to the transition of this life into the next. And aren't our pets absolutely loving beings? All they do is love us. And knowing that our pets move from this life into the next, how can we not feel a sense of even the relationship that we share with them continues after this life ends? And let's move to a more succinct and more direct experience. If you've been with me before, you'd understand the loss of a parent. I've lost my mother this year, my father 4 years ago, from this life into the next. But the good fortune of being able to have them step in, to be able to deliver a message to my aunt, my mother's sister, to give my aunt a sense of comfort that all is not lost in that sisterly relationship. I can feel my aunt in that moment breathe and relax. So we're in a time in history where we all need to breathe and relax. Wouldn't you agree to that? Irrelevant to political belief, this is not about politics. This is about the state of current affairs for all human beings. And I can't help but feel that the spiritual realm is helping us to guide us through this time in our lives. And I can't help but feel that it's giving us a moment, especially on days like today, Sunday morning, where we're together, where we can all go, take a breath in and relax, because I know the spiritual realm supports us through the most difficult times of our lives. If it can help us get through the death of someone we love so dearly, if it can bring through healing in a service when we feel out of sync with our physicality, why wouldn't it bring healing and reassurance at a time like this? So to Ina Twig, my heartfelt gratitude to this British medium, my heartfelt gratitude to her words, because I'm going to repeat, we can comfort the bereaved, but the effect of this communication between two worlds will change, I'm paraphrasing, change the thinking of the recipient. It will affect them and then affect other people in ever-widening circles. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to remind you, you don't have to be a spiritualist medium or a spiritualist healer, but as a spiritualist and as a spiritualist who recites the Declaration of Principles every Sunday and feeling that energy of unification coming together when we were reciting those principles, well, I'm going to say a big amen to that too, if you don't mind, because you are the walking embodiment of this religion. You are walking in the world, and through your physical presence and connection to spirit individually and collectively, you are helping to hold an energetic that is helping people to relax into being, to relax into life. And even though there are stressors in our life that are external, if we hold on to what we know and what we believe to be true with Spirit, we're going to be able to make our way through. And to that I say, God bless you.